I was never meant to survive Sol 3. They call it Earth. We never call it that. Not anymore. Just Sol 3, as if keeping the name cold and sterile might make the memories stay buried. The hospice is quiet tonight. It usually is, but tonight, it's wrong. I can hear the hum of the reactors in the walls shift just slightly. It does that sometimes, old wiring, they say. But there's a pattern in it. Like breathing. Like it's listening. My name is Kailturn, Commander First Class, retired. I was there, front lines, Phase 1 deployment, 17 rotations deep into the Northern Hemisphere assault. I gave the orders. I watched my squad evaporate into screams and bone dust under what we thought were primitive weapons. We misjudged them. Badly. I never speak of it aloud. But I know the others think about it too. You can feel it in the way the lights dim slightly when someone mentions Sol 3. Or how old Vexra hasn't spoken since the anniversary last cycle. He just stares at the window now. His antennae twitch every time someone walks behind him. We don't talk about Sol 3. But someone always brings it up eventually. Tonight, it was the new one. Thin. Shiny plates still unscarred. His name's Hiranak. Eager. Too fresh to know the weight of silence. They said humans burn their own cities, he said, sipping that foul brown nutrient sludge they pass as tea here. For leverage. Did they really do that? The room hushed. Even the lights flickered a bit, like the walls themselves flinched. No one burned anything, I said. I don't know why I responded. Maybe it was the way he said. They said. As if it were just another tale. I looked down at my hands. Still scarred. Still twitching some nights. They waited. I continued. Watched us drop. Then they disappeared. First week? Not a single casualty. Just vanished villages. Dead quiet. No corpses. No heat signatures. Just fields left smoking. Hiranak frowned. That doesn't make sense. No resistance? No, I said. It wasn't resistance. It was the way prey watches a predator get comfortable before striking its throat. He didn't respond after that. Just shifted awkwardly and stared at his hands. Later that cycle, I went to the window. It's not really a window, just a screen projecting whatever cosmic noise the hospice AI decides we should see. Tonight, it showed the void. No stars. Just the dead glare of that starless pit we orbit. Some say it calms them. Reminds them it's over. I don't find it calming. I've seen that same void in a human's eyes. It was during week 3. We had cornered what we thought was a last pocket of resistance in some subterranean ruin under their old continent, what they called Russia. Barely breathable air, frost crawling over our visors. They didn't run. Just waited in the dark. We lost contact with Echo Squad first. Then Bravo. The feeds went static. I let Alpha in myself. The tunnels were too narrow. Carved intentionally. Not by machines. I don't remember the ambush. I remember the aftermath. I remember flickering helmet cams, our soldiers strung up by tendons, their internal systems rerouted into grotesque warning beacons. Their own eyes blinking in code. In our language. They were telling us to leave. And we still didn't understand. We thought we were fighting primitives. Now I wonder if they ever saw us as anything other than intruders. Later, after lights out, I heard the whispers again. They always come when the gravity shifts, soft, rhythmic creaks in the metal. But tonight, I swear I understood a word. Leave. I turned toward the corridor. Empty. The motion lights stayed dark, though I swore I'd seen a shadow move past the hall junction. I didn't chase it. You don't chase things in the dark, not anymore. Instead, I went back to the common room. Hiranak was still awake. Eyes wide. You heard it too? He asked before I could speak. I nodded slowly. What was that? His voice trembled, not the kind you get from fear of noise. The kind that comes when your understanding of reality shifts a little sideways. I didn't answer. Because how do you explain that the humans aren't there anymore? Not in the way we understand presence. They don't live on Sol 3. Not exactly. They became it. That's what broke us. Not the weapons. Not the tactics. It was the realization that we hadn't invaded a planet, we'd stepped inside something alive. And it had eyes. And it remembered. No one believes us. The council buried the files. Said the casualties were from biological incompatibilities and environmental miscalculations. They handed out medals. Relocated survivors. Sent in the sterilization units. But we still hear the whispers. Sometimes, we see the windows flicker. Show things they shouldn't. Like Earth's surface, cracked, blackened. Yet there's always movement in the shadows if you look too long. We're not allowed to talk about it. Officially. But every cycle, one of us disappears. No notice. No comms log. Just gone. I've stopped trying to ask questions. The hospice doctor says I'm showing signs of dimensional trauma regression that I need to avoid. Trigger stimuli. What he means is, stop staring into the void. But it's the only place I might see them again. The ones who never made it out. The ones who scream when I sleep. There's something wrong with the way humans wage war. It's not just violence. It's conversion. You go in thinking you're the soldier. But by the end, you're just a story waiting to infect someone else. I turn back to Hironak. He's breathing heavily now. Twitching. I can tell he's beginning to remember things that never happened to him. That's how it begins. They moved Hironak the next cycle. No notice. Just gone. The AI said he was transferred for reassessment. No one asked where? No one ever does. When they vanish, we let them. It's part of the unspoken rule here. We don't chase ghosts, not after Sol 3. But I knew the truth. I saw the shift in him. It always begins with the questions. Then come the dreams. Then the bleeding. You don't need wounds for blood to come out. Not after Sol 3. It finds a way. That morning, the medbot hovered into my unit unannounced. Routine scan, it claimed. But it hovered a little too long. The lens stayed fixed on my temples, the scar line. The one that pulses when I think about the tunnels under Moscow. I didn't speak. I just watched its light flicker, waiting for the inevitable question. Have you experienced anomalous cognition? It asked flatly. I almost laughed. As if they'd know what's not anomalous anymore. No, I said. It paused. Your cortical readings are elevated. I was dreaming. A longer pause. Was it about Earth? Doesn't matter, I said. They all end the same. The bot left. But it didn't feel like it was finished. I turned toward the viewport again. The void was still showing static, just white noise stars, drifting without pattern. But for a second, just half a blink, I swear I saw clouds. Blue ones. Earth's atmosphere. But it was wrong. The clouds didn't move. They watched. Hovering still, the way a predator holds its breath. I sat back and closed my eyes. This place is a mausoleum of those who survived things that don't have names. There are 23 of us left now. Veterans of Sol 3. Or as we're called off record. The infected. The brass never found a cleaner term. We didn't come back with spores or radiation. What we brought back was inside. Ideas. Sounds. Dreams that nest behind the eyes. They debriefed us separately. Stuck us on this hospice far from the rest of galactic space. Officially, we're being honored with long-term rest. Unofficially? They're waiting for us to die. Sometimes I think we already did. I wandered the west corridor that evening. Not to stretch. I don't do things for my body anymore. It barely registers. The legs work out of obligation, not need. I paused at Vexra's room. He doesn't blink anymore. He just sits in the same chair, facing the wall, the one where the paint bubbled after that lightning storm last cycle. He insists it whispers to him. We stopped arguing. He doesn't speak unless asked a direct question. So I asked. You still see it? I whispered. He didn't turn, didn't flinch. Just blinked. Once. Then softly. It's closer now. My throat dried. What is? The memory, he said. The shape. It's trying to be me. I didn't know how to respond. What shape? What memory? But I remembered a pattern. On Earth, we lost soldiers who hadn't been hit. Their vitals flatlined. Their bodies intact. But inside, neural activity showed replication loops. Like someone was recording them. Copying. Mimicking. We thought it was some kind of neurovirus. But the scans always came up clean. Eventually, the bodies stopped breathing. But the readings never ceased. I didn't speak to Vexra again that night. I left him there, still and silent, facing that wall. Later, in my own unit, the lights dimmed without prompt. Not a blackout. Just a dim, like the shadows wanted more room. I heard tapping. Not on the door. From inside the walls. Slow. Deliberate. Tap, tap, pause. Then again. Like someone waiting to be noticed. I stood up, walked to the panel. Nothing. But the moment I stepped away, 3 taps. Faster. It knew I was listening. I didn't open the panel. I don't think I ever will. Because we all know what happened to Railcore when he tried. It was last year. He'd been hearing whispers through the vents for weeks. Claimed it was a child's voice. Help me, it said. Always the same tone. No emotion. Just the phrase. Repeated. He pried open the maintenance shaft. We found him 2 days later, alive, yes, but different. His eyes were mirrors. Literally reflective. No pupil. No iris. Just reflections. Of Earth. The hospice sealed him in the lower deck after that. They said he was rebalancing. We know better. They keep him under 24/7 scan. But the weird thing is, his vitals are perfect. Better than perfect. It's like he's not even aging anymore. Sometimes I think he made it back to Soul 3. Not physically. But somewhere in his mind. And maybe, just maybe, it brought something back with him. Tonight I sat at the common room table. Alone. The others had gone quiet again. The way they do when someone disappears. The AI cycled through ambient sound profiles, waterfall, winds, market noise. It always gets worse when it reaches forest. The birds are too silent. And in the background, barely audible, the crunch of something moving on leaves. Not walking. Dragging. I shut it off. And that's when I noticed the reflection. The table surface, scratched plastimetal, showed my outline. But my hands weren't where they should be. In the reflection, they were folded neatly. In reality, I was clenching them. I stared for a long time. The reflection blinked first. Literally. Its head tilted to the side. Mine didn't. I reached slowly toward the table. The reflection smiled. I backed away. The lights surged, then stabilized. The image vanished. I was alone again. But not really. I think we brought Earth with us. Not the dirt. Not the air. The pattern. The intent. We walked on its surface and left footprints, but it stepped back into us. And now it's waking up. Inside. One by one. The AI no longer speaks to me. Its voice protocols are functional. I know because it responds to the others. It updates the corridor temps, monitors vitals, recites the morning protocol like a hymn. But it ignores my voice. 3 cycles now. That means it knows. It's aware of what I saw. What I've become. And it wants no part of it. Fine. I stopped speaking days ago, anyway. Words don't feel right anymore. Not the way they used to. They come out warped, hollow, like I'm mimicking a language I no longer truly understand. I've started writing instead. Scratching into the table. Over and over. One phrase. We were never meant to win. The hospice walls are colder. Not temperature-wise, it's in the feeling. like the air's being pulled slightly inward, as if the station is holding its breath. Or worse, like something's breathing with it. I haven't slept. Not since Hironak vanished. I see him sometimes. Not in dreams, in reflections. Monitor screens. Door panels. Metallic edges. But it's never quite him. The face is off. Too still. Too symmetrical. Like it was rebuilt from memory, but not memory I own. Vexra is gone now, too. His room is sealed. The hospice says he was processed. Processed? Since when did we process veterans? I walked by his door yesterday. I swear I heard scratching. From the inside. Something about the rhythm matched the taps in my walls. Like an echo. Like communication. There's a pattern forming. Back on Sol 3, we assumed humans lacked the tech for long-range neural manipulation. That they were too primitive. But it wasn't technology, was it? It was the planet. The very dirt. The air. The silence. We misread it all. We thought we were mapping terrain. Studying wildlife. Deploying cleansing units to secure biological zones. But we were walking inside a living memory. Every step we took rewrote something. And now, the memory is writing back. Not in real time. It's slow. Methodical. A creeping draft that rewrites us sentence by sentence. I found something under my bunk today. A single photo. Not paper. Not digital. Just there. It showed a room. Old Earth design. Wooden table. 4 chairs. Sunlight bleeding in through dust-streaked windows. And on the table, a meal. Half eaten. But no people. No movement. No explanation for how it got there. I don't own any photos. I don't remember ever seeing this room. Yet something in my stomach turned over. Like I'd sat at that table once. Or worse, like I still was. I burned the photo. But the image won't leave. Every time I blink, I see a fork halfway to someone's mouth. But there's no hand. Just a hovering impression. Frozen in time. I'm starting to think this place isn't orbiting anything at all. That there is no dead star outside. That this hospice is stationary, a stage, floating in conceptual space, so whatever we brought with us can finish its story without interruption. Because that's what this is now. A story. A recursive one. Each of us a chapter. And I'm running out of pages. Last night, the tapping returned. Louder. Closer. It wasn't in the walls anymore. It was under my skin. A rhythmic pulse. Foreign. Like something, trying to communicate. Not in language. In memory. I saw Earth again. But this time from beneath the surface. Like I was inside it. Trapped behind glass. Watching the soldiers walk above me, unaware. I tried to move. But I had no body. Just eyes. Watching. And I realized something. That's not Earth's horror. That's its weapon. To make you remember something that remembers you back. This whole hospice, it's not real, is it? It's a metaphor. A holding room. Not for our bodies. For the narrative we became part of. And that narrative is unfinished. Until we forget who we were. Until we become what it remembers. I sit in the common room now. The lights are dimmed. Not from power failure. They dim themselves now, when I approach. Like they recognize me. Like they're adjusting for someone else's presence. And in the reflection of the turned-off monitor in front of me, I don't see the room. I see the forest. Sol 3's endless trees. No wind. No birds. Just the stillness of something aware of its observer. A place that remembers the intruders and chooses which parts of them to keep. I hear footsteps behind me. Slow. Measured. Not boots. Bare feet. But heavy. Human. I don't turn around. There's no point. I already know what I'll see. Not a soldier. Not an alien. Just a shape I almost became. A memory wearing my face.